This is a professional environment. Hey! Stop it!
Another day up at the Waffle House, shit got hella poppin'. One lady started talking that shit like she really wanted problems. She said that the workers were working too slow. She needed the food cause she had to go. She got super angry and started to shout. So Wendy gave her a 3-piece on the house. Yeah. Go Wendy, I get why they mad, yeah. They just found out for Christmas all you be serving is both of them hands, yeah. Wendy, she ain't gonna back down. Her homie just pulled a pan out. So your little plans ain't gonna pan out. John Cena with the smackdown. Why you think they got this type of application? And the store should get launched like an application. If you're not with the shits like your name is Wendy, shit, you're not really a fit, go apply it Wendy. Run up on Wendy, boy, you better just surrender. Featherweight contender whipping up the chicken tenders. Mama lit the way she kept it cool with the aggressors. Even Iron Man is trying to bring her onto the Avenger.
I'll admit it. I'm not letting my kids die. I'm somebody that thought I could fix this, and I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbor. I'm gonna haul him up by a chain. I will eat your ass. I'll do it. You think I like sizing up my neighbor? Gonna chop his ass up. My children are going hungry. I will eat your ass. I'll eat your ass. I'm literally looking at my neighbors now and going, I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. Eat your ass. My superpower is being honest, and I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass. I will eat your ass. Eat your ass. I've extrapolated this out, and I will eat your ass.
I learned a lot. And I learned that, a lot. Anyway, Bo is associated here. Anyway, the point I want to make is I learned so much. I learned
black, white, all colors, all backgrounds. But I mean, come on, man. Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot. You know, come on, man. You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the thing. You know what I mean? Come on, man. What I have to do is I have to continue talking about the things. Come on, man.
I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw. I learned that I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. So I learned about kids jumping on my lap, not kids jumping on my lap.
Oh, I'm in trouble. What are we, nuts? Dead. You know, come on, man. Give me a little break here. Get a life. Taking cocaine or not? What do you think? Huh? Come on, man. Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds. But I mean, come on, man. Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot. You know, come on, man. You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the thing. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. Come on, man. The Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. I can hardly wait to meet with that guy who is the stable genius. Come on, man. I am very willing to let the public judge my physical and mental my physical as well as my mental fitness. Come on, man. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Wealthy kids. Come on, man. I mean, come on. Take a look at the record. I know a lot of weed smokers. Come on, man. Black, white, all colors, all backgrounds. But I mean, come on, man. Men, women, gay, straight, everyone deserves a shot. You know, come on, man. You know the thing. You know what I mean? You know the thing. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Why the hell would I take a test? I am, come on, man.
Yeah. Trump the Don back at it again. Shout out Big Tucker, Alex Stein, JP Sears, Jordan Peterson, and Ben Shapiro. They call me racist, fake news. But Kodak Mazo, I got love for my Haitians. They cool. The media full of these federal agents. Break rules. America first, these candidates hate it. And hate you. Keep it 10 toes down, stay true. Everybody, they were loving me. So the media was switching up on me. Now they young, trying to comfort me. And get a little piece of my money. Greatest president of all time. If you think not, you're mistaken. The only president I love more is them blue hunted Ben Franklin's. These rappers are flexing their cars. Some are flexing their house. My toilet bowl is made of solid gold. I don't need gold in my mouth. Government is full of perverts. Ignoring the Hillary servers. Did Epstein really get murdered? That was my burner. Eating Trump steak, drinking Trump water. Trump towers with Trump daughter. Trump wine, I'm a super gremlin. I don't care about that loser Eminem. Trying to do me like OJ. Just know the glove that don't fit. It's about to be a cold case. No love for a snitch. They call me racist. Fake news. But Kodak Mazo, I got love for my Haitians. They cool. The media, you're full of these federal agents. Break rules. America first, these candidates hate it. And hate you. Keep it 10 toes down, stay true. Wow. We're making it out of Trump towers with this one.
How about a motherfucking mukbang? We got a beef taco. Santa Fe, right?
Wake up. Wake up. It's propaganda. It's propaganda. It's an e-girl in military uniform. It's propaganda. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
This is a rule. You know, the rules of perception. If they're black, then it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and you should never speak about it.
Oh, you know it, lad. You know that Hassan Piker. I'm coming to kill you in Los Angeles at your house.
Or in the ring.
No, in real life.
The sharing of biased and
False news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media publish things that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Whose Sailor Moon shirt? Why, mine, of course. It's a little tight.
Oh, of course you watch Progression. You know skilled, dumb YouTube commenter idiot.
I'm taking all your spell zones. Every
Take them. I don't need them.
Go.
End of main, dumbass.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, nice deck.
Spent
idiot.
all match complaining and had the rock
The deck
in
is
hand.
bullshit.
Completely
It's bad.
saw through
It's
that
a bad
bluff,
deck,
by the
but
way.
it's still
Did
bullshit.
Hillary teach you
Skill
that one,
issue.
you liar?
Open wide, kids, because I'm going to grape you in the mouth.
He's going to what them in the mouth?
He's gonna grape him.
Well, if it's a level beyond Super Saiyan, then
he must be a super duper Saiyan.
if he's a Super Duper Saiyan, then I shall find a way to become a Super D-Duper Saiyan.
You've done well so far, but up until now, I've only been using a mere 5% of my power. Now let's see how well you fare against my Biden blast. Yeah!
Well, Ali is asking for it. Dopes is trying to give it to him.
Porn. Do you have that big a problem with porn? I'm not making fun of. When's the last time? When's the last time you saw porn?
Oh, you busted me. Actually, I made humiliation porn. That's why I watch you on CNN.
No, but
Why are you gay?
Rate me out of 10.
Maybe like a 3?
300.
I like a 3 out of 10.
Oh,
And your voice is kind of just pissing me off, I'm not gonna lie.
pissing you off.
Why do you sound like that? You sound like out of an anime, stop. Talk normal. Yeah, you're kind of annoying, I'm gonna be honest.
if you're not paying for child porn, if you're just getting it, there is no moral or legal argument against that.
We've all jerked it to Lolly.
Would be most attracted to?
I think it would be somewhere.
Do you not
from
want to answer
14.
this question?
No, I think it'd be somewhere from 14 to 17.
Look, fuck you. Fuck the plane you flew in on. Fuck them shoes. Fuck those socks with the bell on it. Fuck your gay ass fairy faggot accent.
If you shit talk Tipster's wife, he fights 2 battles that day, one against you and one to get out the chair.
Can you toss me a beer?
Yeah, I got you, bro. Here's a cold one, bro.
Born in the 90s that's under 25 can't cook, can't clean. They don't want to work nothing. Niggas that's 31 and over get in relationships with them and wonder why shit ain't working. That's because all young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck d***, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
1-1. Access denied.
1112.
Access denied.
1113.
Access denied.
1114.
Access denied.
This door is a bit.
Welcome back, everybody. Why aren't you play Krusty Krab? I don't know what that is, man. I have no idea what that is. Send it to me and I might play it. Okay, guys, we have probably one of the worst, most toxic fucking podcasts I think I have ever seen. It is 2 nitwits hardcore, right? Just hardcore drooling all over themselves as they go to bat defending Amber Heard. We're over a year out from the trial, and these two idiots are sitting there talking about how, oh, we're supposed to have Me Too. This is supposed to be a post-Me Too environment. And how could they not side with Amber Heard? And I'm like, wow, okay. So really, all that tells me is Me Too may not have been a very good thing. If your perspective is because of Me Too, everyone should have sided with a domestic abuser because she doesn't have a dick or something. Okay, listen, it's gonna be bad. I watched about 10 minutes of this thing, and I was like, I have to just watch it live with you guys. And I've been wanting to watch it live for a little bit because I want to see just how brain damaged it is going to get, because it is going to be bad. I already know it's going to be bad because one of the people in the podcast is Kat Tenbarge. Now, for those of you who do not know, Kat is a supposed journalist who openly admitted that she never actually watched the trial. However, as the trial was going on, she made several statements about others who were watching the trial, who were reviewing the evidence presented, who were going through the nitty-gritty of everything, claiming that they were biased, that they just hated women, that they were misogynistophobes, and that they were like essentially Satan McHitlers or whatever. And that only she was interested in the truth, which is why she wasn't watching the trial, because, you know, she had already made up her mind. So we're gonna watch it. But before that, the Russell Brand situation. Okay, guys, I don't want to lose sight of it. All right. There are new laws that have been passed in the UK, the Online Safety Act, and there's apparently something going on in Canada as well, where people have basically allowed the government to come in and dictate what content is allowed, right? That is completely against everything that we're supposed to believe in over in the United States. Now, sure, I get it. There is some content, snuff material, adult material being presented to children, things of that nature, which should not be allowed, 100%. But what they're doing is they're talking about how, oh, this is stuff promoting self-harm, so that's why we're putting these laws in place to restrict it. Well, the content was already being restricted. So actually what they did was get it passed under that guise, and then they're using it as an opportunity to completely silence people that just don't agree with them, right? I don't like using the term only because it gets heavily overused and is improperly used all the time, but it's like textbook fucking fascism, right? People are getting on their hands and knees and begging Big Daddy government to come in and tell them what is and is not okay to watch. Kind of a problem with that. Obviously, there's no such thing as a world of black and white. Everything exists within a gray area, but this has gone so far off the fucking rails that it's going to become it's going to become even worse, especially as we move towards a society in which people want everything to be kind of shared, right? Like a shared worldview, kind of like a one government worldview, which is never a good thing. As the fan of One Piece, I can attest. The one world government is never a good thing. But it is becoming a massive concern to many people because, well, these other markets may not be as big as the United States market. The problem is twofold. There is at least enough of them that they can influence what content will be provided to everyone. And we have bad actors, bad faith actors here in the United States who openly embrace the idea of censorship and attempt to wield it against those that they just do not agree with. For instance, when it comes down to like the Depp and Heard trial, someone like Kat Tenbarge, who praises shit like this, she would openly embrace the idea of censoring any type of material that would quote unquote misinform the public, like the Depp Heard trial misinformed the public, right? Because as someone who didn't watch it and had already made up her own mind, she knew what the truth was, and so anything that went against that was misinformation. And that misinformation was dangerous because it caused people to, quote unquote, falsely believe that Depp was an abuse victim. That's where my biggest concern comes in, because these people deal in bad faith. They lie consistently. They are completely divorced from reality. Whatever is good for them is good. Whatever is bad for them is bad. If it disagrees with what they believe in, then it's misinformation. And we saw that all throughout the 2 years after the coup and everything. So we've got to be more vocal in shutting it down, right? Shutting down this narrative that censorship is a good thing, that government should dictate what is and is not allowed to be seen based solely on people's political viewpoints. It needs to be stopped. It needs to be ended, because those that push that are some of the most evil, heinous, and dishonest individuals. Don't treat them with any respect. Don't treat them with any decency. And when they try to talk, the best solution that you have is to just openly mock them. Because that's actually why comedy was one of the first things that they went to go censor. Because when you turn something into a joke, it loses all its power. That's why comedy was one of the first things that they wanted to get shut down. That's why they wanted to punish stand-up comedians. That's why they went for them first. Because the minute you make something into a joke, nobody takes it seriously anymore. So keep mocking these fucking clowns as they put on their noses and dance for attention. All right, so let's talk about this podcast. Okay, let's talk about this podcast. Now, this is Kat. This is Matt.
To hurl.
Matt is not a very intelligent person. Kat is probably even dumber by comparison. Actually, it's hard to say because I don't have too much knowledge of this Matt person. I've seen a couple tweets from this guy, or this them, this they. I forget. There's like a multitude of different pronouns for this one. But generally speaking, whatever is trendy is whatever side Matt will be on. I was actually surprised to see this podcast because essentially he never wants to go against the grain, but it's also a safe topic to go against the grain on because most mainstream outlets will side with the idea that Me Too was the greatest thing to ever happen, that there is nothing wrong with Me Too, and that anything that could dissuade people from believing all women is something bad and wrong and should be shut down no matter how much the public is in support of it. So, Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. We remember this trial. We remember the outcome of this trial. Essentially, Amber Heard was put on full display for everyone to see. We got the evidence of the heinous and evil things that she did. We got to see her attempting to manipulate the public by releasing small snippets of confrontations. We got to see the abuse that she put Johnny Depp through. We had witness testimony that proved, at least substantiated the claims being made against her. And we got to see her own witnesses crumble and just fall apart on the stand because they clearly were not being honest. That was the trial. That's why Amber Heard lost. And Depp did not want to just go through and take all of her money because the most important thing was getting legal victory. So that is it. That is the case. That is the trial. We all remember it. Now, very recently, a Netflix documentary came out. The Netflix documentary was hardcore in the bat for Amber Heard. Maybe that's why these two idiots felt safe coming forward. But Kat has always been on the side of domestic abuse as long as it comes from a woman. If it's a woman doing the domestic abuse, it's okay, because the majority of domestic abuse cases are actually the guy. So if there's like a couple of false cases out there, it's really not that bad. Okay, it's really not that bad. It's not that bad if a few women abuse men and lie about it, because really more men are going to commit the abuse anyway. So as long as you always side with the woman, you'll be mostly correct, right? Whether that's like 60% or 70%, you'll at least be mostly correct as long as you always side with the woman. It's an idiotic stance to have. This woman has no fucking moral values to speak of whatsoever. But let's play the podcast. I'm going to speed it up just because I'm going to try to make through as much of this as I can. But I'm going to have a breaking point. I will have a breaking point.
Any amount of abuse at her. And then we do it. And a bunch of years later, we're like, guess we were wrong. And then like 2 weeks later, we do it again. Hello. I'm Matt Bernstein, and welcome to A Bit Fruity, the weekly podcast where we're joined by celebrities, journalists, thought leaders, and experts, and we really dig into the cultural and political moments that are shaping our lives. Really quick before we start, if you like the podcast and want to be notified when we release new episodes every week, you can follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we're also on Instagram at A Bit Fruity Pod, and on YouTube, etc. All of those links will be in the episode description. Today, we are kind of jumping straight into the deep end and talking about something that really gripped the nation and the world about a year ago, which was the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case. And I don't just want to sit here and relive the case. So that's not what we're going to do, but we are going to look at it from the standpoint of how the public's reaction to it and how we as a collective kind of failed not only Amber Heard, but women, how we failed victims of abuse, how we misunderstood what
Hey guys, we're going to take an open mind. We're going to look at it. We're going to talk about how we all collectively failed Amber Heard. Okay, so again, I prefer people to just be honest, okay? Like, I prefer people to just be honest, because throughout the podcast, they're going to talk about how anyone siding with Johnny Depp just hates women, right? Like, they're going to go over and lean into that angle very, very heavily. At the exact same time, at no point do they hide how they're just completely in the tank for Amber Heard. They posted a clip on Twitter. And we'll eventually I hope we get to that point in this podcast. But at no point do they question any of her story, because people question Johnny Depp's story. People question Johnny Depp's side of things. And when the lawsuit was first filed against Amber Heard, most of the people that later went on to support Johnny Depp said he was going to lose, because typically in cases like this, especially here in the US, you expect that the party bringing the lawsuit is likely going to lose the defamation lawsuit. Most people assumed he would. Now, it was throughout the trial where it became so fucking apparent that Amber Heard had lied, right? And there were multiple parts of her lying. One of the biggest ones, of course, was I guess you would just call it defrauding charities, right? Promising money to these charities and then refusing to deliver it. At one point, she was asked directly, hey, you said that you would pay it. You said that you paid them the money. You said that you paid the money to the charities. You testified to paying them the money. And then she said, well, I promised to pay it. Which is like a completely different thing. Guys, I'd rather have $100 than the note that says, I owe you with the fucking smiley face. But this is one of the things that came up during the trial, was Amber Heard had lied about what she was doing with her money. I mean, obviously, there was also the shitting in the bed, chopping off his finger, trying to set up audio recordings of him, multiple recordings of her admitting to hitting him. Okay, that's these all came up during the trial. Multiple recordings of her gaslighting him after admitting to hitting him. But of course, this podcast is talking about the myth of the perfect victim. And because Amber Heard wasn't a completely perfect victim, and people had the ability to question her story, how they failed Amber Heard, Johnny Depp wasn't a perfect victim. And anything that did not completely align with the idea of him being an abuse victim, right? Him getting angry, for instance, anything like that was seen as proof that he was actually a liar. But anything that Amber Heard did, the multiple things that Amber Heard did, hitting him, admitting to hitting him, chopping off his finger, taking a shit in his bed, right? Chasing him around the world as he tried to flee from her. All of that, well, guys, you have to understand there's no such thing as a perfect victim here.
What it means to be a victim of abuse, and how we failed ourselves as a kind of post-Me Too society that thinks of itself as one that supports and believes victims when clearly it doesn't. Today, we're joined by my friend and someone whose work I admire so deeply. Kat Tenbarge is a tech and culture journalist at NBC News. She's covered influencer culture as well as domestic abuse and celebrity abuse trials and the way that we talk about them. She was one of the very early and more prominent voices to support Amber Heard and kind of see the trial for what it was from the beginning. And she got no shortage of backlash for that. So I'm so excited to be sitting down with you.
You know, it's funny because I wonder if they I wonder if this guy at any point brings up the fact that Kat openly admitted to not watching the trial. Like Kat would quote tweet people from the Heard side that actively called for violence against Depp's fans. Like she was busted doing that on several occasions. Didn't matter, doesn't care. But again, to say that she got flack, well, I mean, look, if you watch the trial, you would know that there's no way to defend Amber Heard for her actions. Kat didn't watch the trial and yet kept standing for Amber Heard no matter what, and would constantly claim that anybody supporting Depp was misogynistophobe or whatever.
I couldn't think of a better person to cover this with. Thank you for being here, Kat.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I just want to say,
I am curious because he says he admires her work. Did he admire when Kat was openly attempting to dox the Depp people and trying to run articles about the people that were supporting Johnny Depp? Did he admire that part too? Because you can't claim that you're a big fan and then later go on to say, "Oh, I had no idea about this. I wasn't even paying attention." You fucking liar.
From the beginning of this episode, you can probably tell that we are going to take the position of supporting Amber Heard because we do. And we're going to get into the nuances of what that means and supporting victims of abuse, even when you don't think that they are perfect people, supporting victims of abuse, even if you might not like them, supporting victims of abuse who are difficult, because that's what supporting victims of abuse means. And we're going to get into all of that, but I just want to say heads up, that's where this is going. Obviously, also, we're going to be talking about domestic abuse. So if that is something that makes you uncomfortable or is triggering, just proceed with that warning. Again, I don't want to get bogged down in an hour of talking about, in reliving this trial, but I do think it's important for us to have a conversation about Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, supporting victims of abuse, the online backlash, the people who profit off of this. I think it is important to lay a little bit of groundwork. So could you, Kat, tell us about how this trial came to be?
Yes. So, from my perspective, I did not know very much about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's relationship until the defamation trial in the United States kicked off. And
because that wasn't the first trial.
Right. Yes. It's like
with regard to their abuse.
In the history of their relationship and also everything that happened after their relationship, the US defamation trial came along very late in the process. There was so much that happened before then. And so from the get-go, people tend to hyperfixate on the verdict of this trial and the public opinion during this trial. But in order to accurately assess what happened here, you have to go back to the beginning. And I think that by looking at just the messiness that was presented last May, it was easy for people to get confused because they were seeing the most volatile sides of both of these figures at the worst points of their lives.
When it wasn't always like that.
Exactly. There was obviously a time before. And when you examine that time before, it becomes really, really clear what actually happened. And
okay, so I'm actually a little bit confused by this point, right? Because if you examine what happened before, you can't argue out of both sides of your mouth that we failed victims and that nobody took her seriously and they just and everybody was just mistaken. When the claims about Johnny Depp came out by Amber Heard, the initial reaction from people, especially post Me Too, was to side with Amber Heard. There were some very loyal Johnny Depp fans who had his back no matter what. However, the majority of people either abstained or backed the accuser, which was Amber Heard. Johnny Depp was immediately removed from multiple projects and basically had his career destroyed essentially overnight by Amber Heard's accusations, right? We talked about how, Warner Brothers refused to remove Amber Heard from the new Aquaman film, right? Refused to remove her even after the trial. However, when she made her claims against Johnny Depp, they removed Johnny Depp from that Fantastic Beasts franchise. He was kicked out of Disney on the Pirates of the Caribbean and everything. Things that he had been heavily involved in for a while. He was removed as soon as she started making her claims against Johnny Depp. However, even after the trial, studios refused to drop Amber Heard. I think it was more recently where they just won't hire her anymore. But most of them have been very careful not to publicly disown this woman in spite of everything. But at the very beginning, people just sided with the person that was making the accusations. They didn't give a shit. They literally didn't give a shit about Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp had to take it to trial and prove in court with legal documents, with witness testimony, with multiple recordings of her admitting to abusing him. So I guess that's confusing me. The other part that's confusing me is Kat says that she didn't pay attention until the U.S. trial, but she also admitted to Andy Signor on his, I believe it was on his podcast or in a back and forth with tweets with him, that she didn't actually watch the trial. So essentially, Johnny Depp brought a lawsuit against Amber Heard, in which she wasn't paying attention at all to anything, and she instantly sided with her. That's impressive.
For me as a journalist, I've had people say, like, why do you take a position here? Like, why are you choosing to support Amber or defend her? Shouldn't you be unbiased? And so I think my position on it is, as a journalist, you are supposed to be the one looking at all the evidence, looking at the full timeline, and coming to a conclusion. And another thing that's important for journalists to do is to hold systems of power accountable. And so people will be like, oh, how can you disagree with the verdict? And it's like, well, first of all, which one? Because there was one before.
That did not take Johnny Depp's side.
Exactly. And so it's like, even just looking.
Actually, because she said she wants to take a look at all the evidence, I'm not going to get into the UK trial, only because in the UK trial, the judge in that case, okay, when he heard the argument that Amber Heard shit in Johnny Depp's bed, he decided that claim was not credible, not because there was no proof of it happening, because apparently there were photos. He decided that there was no way Amber Heard would have shit in somebody's bed, because she would have had to have smelled her own shit, because she was the only person in the apartment at the time that the shit was taken. So it must have been a 2-pound dog that took a 5-pound shit on Johnny Depp's bed. This is the UK judge, by the way. Also, it's funny because I believe it was his son is a partner of the Sun. Like he's a business partner, has a financial relationship with the Sun newspaper, who is the person actually being sued. And the judge decided, he was just going to oversee a trial in which his own child could be financially impacted by the verdict. I mean, over here, that would never go down, right? Or at least it shouldn't go down. In the UK, that was all honky-dory. Nobody gave a shit, right? Nobody gave a shit. But actually, like, it's funny because a lot of the people that Kat is claiming were like biased, didn't look over the evidence, went through the many decisions that the judge had made, which were questionable to say the fucking least. But not to Kat, because Kat's a fucking moron. I like how she goes, it's important that we hold we hold places of power accountable as journalists. Well, look at all the studios that refuse to condemn Amber Heard but immediately condemn Johnny Depp. I mean, does Warner Brothers not have power? Does Disney not have power? Kat is talking out her ass, and I actually love it.
Also, it's not like you have to uncritically accept the verdict that comes from a criminal justice system that is historically broken and does not often side or
Well, this was a civil trial, you two fucking idiots, but keep nodding.
Favor victims of abuse, but sorry, let me continue.
Exactly. I mean, for me, one of the very first connections I made as the trial was actually happening was going back to O.J. Simpson. We saw a lot of the same attitudes and media consumption habits on display. The difference is we're in the TikTok era. And so when O.J. Simpson's trial was being televised, people had a way into the courtroom for the first time in a really big way, where it felt like the entire country was watching these events unfold. But the difference in the Depp Heard trial is people were actually creating content alongside it, that people were consuming the trial mainly through viral content.
Right. Like it felt like very quickly. I mean, if you were on any part of the internet during spring of 2022, you came across Johnny Depp, Amber Heard content. And like oftentimes it was parody. Like I remember SNL did a skit where they were like, I mean, SNL is in nature, it's comedy. And they were making a comedy routine out of this.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say SNL was the big one. Listen, Kat's talking about how independent people were making content about what was going on. That wasn't parody content. This Matt guy, I think, is being, I don't know if it's necessarily he's just being dishonest. I wouldn't say that because I know that this is not the type of person who would actually tune in and watch a 4-hour-long live stream from an attorney, right? During the Depp Heard trial, Tug, fucking Nick Rekieta, right? Andy Signor, Legal Mindset. There were multiple law tubers who were sitting there watching the trials, okay? Watching the trial for hours each day that had concurrently, I think Rekieta had like concurrently 70,000 people watching the trial. It wasn't parody content, okay? But most of the big names were watching the trial in depth and reacting to it as it was live. So I know that Matt isn't the type of guy to actually sit there and pay that much attention because I imagine he has the attention span of a fucking squirrel. I know Kat didn't watch it either. So to sit there and go, well, look, SNL made a parody skit. That heavily influenced the way the public was interpreting the facts of the case. A jury found her to be lying about her claims of abuse. A jury found that. So you can argue about all the online content that you want. A jury found that to be true. And most of the people that profited off of making content at the time were doing live streams, live watching the trial. So interesting point in the sense that it's not in any way relevant to what was actually happening, but go off.
Trial about domestic abuse that was ongoing. And all of this, I mean, it became like these were not two human beings on the stand discussing domestic abuse. It was like a TV show that came to life that we could all participate in our own ways. And it was totally inescapable.
Yeah. And Amber Heard was presented to people as a caricature of just like the worst woman who you can imagine. Because as she became a global obsession, it was 99% hatred. And so when you're aiming all of that hatred at somebody, they cease to become a human in the public eye. Like the dehumanization of Amber Heard was completely, it transformed her public perception and her public image. And so when we talk about, who lost in terms of everything, it was Amber who her public image is going to be forever tied to this. And also she met Johnny Depp when she was like 22 years old. So her entire life from that point has been completely consumed by this man.
When did they meet? How did their relationship?
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. All right. Why was Amber the one being hated on? Because you can make whatever arguments you want that the legal system doesn't favor people who come forward with claims of abuse. That's fine. Online social media, we've been through this with many other claims of abuse from other people or claims of sexual misconduct from other people, especially when it hits places like Twitter. 95% of the time, possibly even more than that, when a claim of abuse is made on social media, the people who are interacting on social media side with the accuser nearly every fucking time. Not every single person, but the vast majority do. So, in the case of Depp and Amber Heard, a large shift happened where the majority of the content was shitting on Amber Heard. Fine, fair. How come it was different than any other claim that has come forward? Because you can lie and you can bullshit and you can make up whatever stories you want about how the legal system doesn't favor accusers and always sides against the accusers, whatever. Online social media doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Like we've been through this multiple times before. Why was the Heard Depp case different? It's because Johnny Depp had actual evidence of Heard abusing him, had actual evidence of Heard lying about her own cases of abuse. In multiple circumstances and in multiple scenarios. Kat and Matt don't acknowledge that at all. They simply claim, well, everyone was making negative content about Amber Heard, and that changed the perspective of people. Listen, look at gosh, what would have happened if a bunch of people made negative content about the people coming forward about Harvey Weinstein and siding with Harvey Weinstein? Do you think if a bunch of people started making content like that, all of a sudden social media would have flipped and sided with Harvey fucking Weinstein? No, that's absurd to even state. So why was this case different? I wonder if they're going to go into that at all, because essentially their argument has no merit without acknowledging that, at least from the social media standpoint, Depp Heard was treated very differently.
Form. How old were they at the time? Because I believe he was twice her age.
Yes.
And,
yeah. So in 2009, Johnny Depp is already one of the most famous people on the planet.
Kind of a pillar of American entertainment.
Exactly. One of the most iconic actors ever, just flat out. And he was 46. And he was starting to work on a passion project of his, which was The Rum Diary. It's a 2009 movie based on a book by Hunter S. Thompson, who is a personal hero and a personal friend of Johnny Depp's. Because he's old. Like, he knows.
Yes, like Johnny Depp is not a young person. Like, this is not a flourishing romance where they were both in their 20s.
Exactly. He's 46 years old. He has all this money.
He could have been her dad.
100%. And he also had a very well-publicized history.
You know, and listen, the reason why is... Hey, look, I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Men grow in value as they age. Women lose value as they age. Societal value. Like, you might not like it. I don't particularly like that, but it's not untrue. As women age, they tend to go down in how society values them, right? We can work to change that. It's fine, but you can't argue against it. Just like you can't, a young man who is just starting out has barely any value to anybody else, okay? It's as they get older, they go up in value because women go for security. Men don't give a shit about that. Men make their own lifestyles. Women tend to rely on someone else to help them and make them feel safe and secure. I'm speaking as a generality before someone claims I'm being a sexist or whatever. But because of that, as men grow older and they advance in their careers and they become more financially stable, they have a higher value than men in their 20s. So younger women will tend to go for older men, right? And older men will tend to go for younger women because the values just match up that way. You might not like it, right? I mean, you might not like it. It is unfortunately the truth of the world that we live in and the reality we live in. So I could sit there and I could say, oh, Amber Heard was this young, innocent, sweet, sweet child. Or I could just be realistic and say Amber Heard was 22. She was attractive and she saw a very successful, very powerful guy who had millions to his fucking name and was known by everybody, and she wanted to get a piece of that. And she did. Because Amber Heard went for Elon fucking Musk too. Amber Heard would fuck around with any dude who was rich, wealthy, and famous because that's what she values in men. Amber Heard doesn't value romance. Amber Heard's a fucking psychopath. Fucking Christ, man. He was old and rich. That's all she has. Yeah, that's all she has, dude. And Amber Heard was sweet and innocent. That's what Kat has here.
Of both aggression and having a temper and sometimes a violent temper, even if it was like destroying hotel rooms, that's still an aggressive streak. And he had talked about it at length. Like he's very open about the fact that he was willing to engage in physical violence with people. He also had a very well publicized history of substance abuse and drug and alcohol addiction. And so you have a very volatile and very powerful man who is at that point, really, I think at the peak of his career. You know, he's done Jack Sparrow.
Right.
And so that's Johnny Depp at the outset of this relationship. And then you have Amber Heard. And Amber at that point was relatively unknown. She had very, very small roles in movies that weren't that huge. And when they were casting for this movie, initially, like I think Scarlett Johansson and Kate Winslet or, you know, Keira Knightley, there were other women interested who were big actresses because this was a big role. But they cast Amber. They cast her when she was 22, turning 23.
Which is the age of a college graduate.
The age of a college
graduate. And I don't mean to infantilize her. Like she was an adult.
Yeah.
But she was half his age.
No. I don't mean to infantilize her. But I'm going to completely infantilize her. Oh, man. I see. The thing is, when you're this transparent about it, it does make it fun. Okay? When you're being this transparent about it, it does make it fun. All right? We're not going to deny that. When you're willing to be this transparent about what your actual claims are, it is fun.
And the age of a college graduate.
Exactly. And part of the reason why they ultimately gave the role to Amber is because she was willing to do the level of nudity that the role required that some older actresses were a little scared off by. So I think that's really interesting because this is like a theme throughout their relationship is that like Depp is the only one who's allowed to sexualize her. Later in the relationship, he's telling her, you can't do roles where you take your clothes off. Like, I don't want other people to see you that way. This was a golden opportunity.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Yeah, JD never self-snitched. Amber Heard admitted to abusing JD in multiple recordings. Okay, in multiple recordings. This came up at trial. Kat didn't watch the trial. She doesn't know this. She admitted it multiple fucking times. They have her in several recordings admitting to abusing Johnny Depp and then gaslighting him about it. Actually, Amber Heard, in those recordings, and this is the crazy thing, she talked about how in her other relationships, the men could take it, but Johnny was fragile. Johnny just can't take the abuse. So Amber not only admitted to hitting Johnny Depp, in her own recordings, admits to hitting her past partners too. But to fucking Kat, that never happened because she didn't watch the fucking trial. What I do like is the movie required some nudity, okay? That's why they couldn't get an older actress. That's why they had to get Amber Heard. But as she grew in popularity, especially from being with Johnny Depp didn't want her doing those scenes anymore. So Johnny Depp actually cared about her reputation. Oh God. Oh fuck, man. Oh fuck.
For her, because I've had some people say things like, oh well, she dated him because he was going to be great for her career, and it's like she took this movie because it was a golden opportunity, a once in a lifetime chance. She would be crazy not to take it. So, you know, her getting into that situation, it's not even viewed as a bad thing at this point. It's like, this is a high note for her. And at the time, both she and Depp were in relationships.
Right.
When they filmed the movie in 2009 and all the way through the beginning of their own relationship, Amber was in a relationship with her former wife, and Johnny Depp was also in a relationship with his then wife and the mother of his children.
Wasn't she arrested as well for hitting her old wife? Are we gonna mention that she was arrested for supposedly hitting her ex-wife too? Listen. It's okay. It's okay. Like you said, logic is her kryptonite. Fucking Kat, I love this. Just avoid facts that are inconvenient to everybody.
And so
Amber's bisexual.
Yes, Amber's bisexual.
Which, like, I did not know.
Yeah, she's bisexual. Bisexual people are more likely to be victimized in relationships, and also like the topic of her sexuality is a recurring theme throughout the allegations of abuse. So it's really interesting that.
Well, it's a recurring theme because she was also alleged to have abused her ex-wife too. You fucking moron. Oh my God. No, listen, I sped it up. We got to get through this.
He set his sights on her as she was having her first serious relationship with a woman.
Right. And I mean, in some of like the texts and audios and whatever, he kind of like weaponizes her bisexuality against her and like kind of the image of her being a slut.
Yeah. He calls her a lesbian camp counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely
a lesbian camp counselor, which like, why is this an insult?
I know, right?
That's like, if someone ever called me a lesbian, like adjacent to a lesbian camp counselor, I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I'd be like, I should have thought of that for myself.
So they're both married, and how do they end up together?
So at the time of filming the movie, they're filming, you know, as romantic dynamics opposite one of each other in the film. And then they go back to their lives after filming completes, and then they come back together to promote the film. And that's where both of them have said the relationship really flourished, was when they like rejoined to promote the film, and both of them ended up getting out of their relationships and they got together. And so this was 2012 at the beginning of their relationship. And so in the beginning, everything was amazing.
Because that's how relationships always start.
Exactly. There's a honeymoon phase.
Right.
And like, I think one thing that really strikes me about the relationship between Johnny and Amber is from what you see online, you would get this impression that she's like very cynical and has always hated him.
Right.
But when you actually look at the relationship and how she described it and how her friends described her and how they talked about each other, she was very, very in love with him. She was arguably in love with him to a fault. Because when these signs started to emerge, her first instinct was to defend him and to protect him and to try to get him help.
Right, which I imagine will later be used against her as like, well, you know, if this was so bad, then why didn't she X, Y, or Z?
Exactly.
Because there's no right way to be a victim in a public's eye.
Right. And what really is like so frustrating about it is from doing reporting about victims and about sexual assault and intimate partner violence, over time, the pattern that is established by all of these various perpetrators, it's like you're seeing the same things over and over again. Like the concepts and the dynamics in the cycle of abuse are very well recognized.
You know, I actually hate this claim. And I see it not just made by Kat. I see it made a lot by people who tend to side with false allegations. They'll go, listen, it's common for a victim to do this, while at the same time also arguing that there's no such thing as a perfect victim, which is fine. Those two are not mutually exclusive from each other. But Amber Heard's behavior is not common at all with another victim, okay? For instance, when you argue, hey, why would you go back to your abuser if they were abusing you? The typical tactic that gets made is the abuser will gaslight the abused, okay? They will claim that the abuse wasn't that bad. I still love you. Please come back to me. I'm the only one that's there for you. You can't trust anybody else. I'm the one who's given you everything. It's that type of tactic. And typically, after you've been abused for a while, you start to not trust others. And so it makes it easier to fall back into the person's arms who has been abusing you because of the way that they go about it, right? It's a manipulation tactic. That's typically what happens. Now, in Amber Heard's case, Johnny Depp would run away from her, and Amber Heard would go running after him. So, to sit there and make that claim is brain damaged beyond all belief, because it is not at all common for victims of abuse to chase and stalk down their abusers, hoping that the abuser takes them back. Okay? It may happen in some cases, but it is extremely abnormal. And typically you need to have some explanation for why that happened. Not sit there and go, oh, this is how all victims of abuse are, because that is completely untrue.
And they're very easy to spot if you know what to look for. And so I think the way that we publicly consumed this trial, you didn't have actual education about domestic violence being shared.
Right.
And you didn't actually have people who were championing Depp talking about like the misconceptions involved in domestic violence. Because if they had, it would have become clear that he wasn't a victim.
Right. At what point?
Listen, if we educated people ahead of time, we could have convinced them that Depp was the abuser, and there was no way he would have been abused, okay? He's an older man. He must have been the one hitting her. Guys, listen, I know that there are recordings of Amber Heard admitting to hitting him and gaslighting him and saying that in her previous relationship, she hit her other partners and they could take it, and Depp was just being a baby about it. But listen, that's typical in cases of abuse. What a fucking psychopath Kat is. That's great.
Does the relationship become abusive? And then how long is it until they separate? And then, because I know in 2018 is when we get this op-ed from Amber that then leads to everything else.
Yes. So the relationship starts to deteriorate after Depp starts to use drugs and alcohol again.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not like disputed, because as you look at how the case proceeded through the various court systems, both sides submitted just troves of evidence that had to be verified by both parties. So we have text message history, we have emails, we have transcripts of calls, we have
yeah, but Kat admits to not watching the trial. So how would she know what evidence was presented during the trial? Either she did watch it and she claims to not have watched it so she can later be dishonest and say that she didn't know about a certain fact, but how that fact doesn't actually change her perspective. Or what she's talking about is she saw certain things get reposted, and that's her entire basis for her claims. Now, here's my problem. Because we want to talk about typical cases of abuse, all right? If you're being victimized by somebody, right, and you feel like you have nobody else you can turn to, a lot of them turn to substances, okay? Like a lot of them go heavy into substances, especially former addicts, especially former alcoholics. They typically go back into substance abuse. That's actually typical with victims of abuse. But see, Kat, who doesn't actually have any fucking understanding of intimate partner violence or people who have actually been the victims of domestic abuse, and only goes for people that will agree with her, she doesn't know that. So instead, she's using the claims, well, the relationship fell apart when Johnny Depp started taking drugs and alcohol. That's what caused all of this. Well, what? It was that? I thought it was when he was this older guy taking advantage of this young woman we're not infantilizing her, but also she essentially, this would have been someone who just graduated college. Fuck the fuck off.
Recordings, we have all of this evidence to assess how this relationship progressed. And there were 14 examples of violence that Amber testified to in the UK. And by looking at those 14 incidents and how they were described, you can see that it was a very familiar cycle of abuse began to emerge. It started just completely out of the blue, as these types of dynamics often do. In a relationship, you have the honeymoon phase, so you're completely unsuspecting that this is going to happen. And the first thing that Amber alleged that Depp did was, while they were just having a conversation, she made a joke about one of his tattoos that was actually referencing his relationship with Winona Ryder from a very long time ago. And he snapped and he hit her, she alleged. And so that was the very first moment that violence was introduced into the relationship. And from that moment on,
See, here's my thing, right? If that's true, okay, fine. I can understand why Kat would then use that in her claims. The problem is, it's just a claim that was made by Amber Heard that nobody else can authenticate at all. Okay? We have actual messages and recordings of Amber Heard admitting to hitting Johnny Depp. We don't have those of Johnny Depp admitting to hitting Amber Heard, which is problematic because Amber Heard was the one who went around setting up cameras so that she could instigate confrontations, which we saw, okay? She released a clip to the public, okay, of Johnny Depp throwing shit around in his apartment, okay? During the trial, we got to see the entire thing from Amber Heard placing the camera down, then taunting Johnny Depp until the point where he started throwing things. So, given that Johnny Depp was the one who had no idea he was being fucking recorded, you'd think it would be easier to get him admitting to the abuse. Instead, you have fucking Amber Heard, the one who kept trying to get recordings of Depp acting out and was caught doing it. She's the one who admitted to the abuse.
The pattern begins. And what you see is Depp immediately apologizes and he ascribes the violence in the relationship to what he calls the monster, which is the side of him that comes out when he's abusing drugs and alcohol.
Right, like kind of distancing the person that he is from the person that he is when he's abusing her, but it's the same person.
Exactly. And the way that Johnny Depp describes himself as the monster, he was doing this well before he ever even started dating Amber, because some of those things that were entered into court as evidence showed him emailing people talking about the monster before the relationship began. So like this was a part of his personal history. This was just the first time that she saw that side of him. And, you know, one thing that I come back to a lot that is a really good resource for understanding the relationship is Amber and Johnny had a mutual friend named Io Tillett-Wright. And Io testified during the trial, so people are already familiar with him. But in 2016, he actually wrote an op-ed for Refinery 29 where he explains why he called 911 for Amber.
Oh.
And in this op-ed, he talks about how everyone loved him. Like, they loved Johnny. Their group of friends was really close. They lived in Johnny's penthouses. He had offered them to their group of friends to live in.
You know, here's the part where I think Kat, like, this is what I mean, where I believe Kat fully knows everything that happened at trial, and she willfully misinforms people by leaving out key details. When she says, oh, Amber and Johnny had this mutual friend, that's not true, okay? Many of the people that were living in the penthouse that were friends with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were actually Amber Heard's friends that she begged Johnny Depp to let them live in his properties because he had these like massive fucking properties, and he just said, yeah, sure, not a problem. So typically when they're saying, oh, they're mutual friends, they're Amber Heard's friends that she introduces to Johnny Depp. So they're Amber Heard's fucking friends. That's like if I claimed, you know, okay, so I have a good friend, Origami, okay? And he sometimes comes on the channel. If I claim, oh, Aura's a mutual friend of me and my wife. No, Aura's my friend. He knows my wife through me. Like to then try to claim, oh, well, this is a mutual friend. He was actually friends with both of them, but clearly he sided with Amber Heard. That's why he called the cops. Dude, that entire situation was brought up at trial, and it was heavily fucking discredited at trial. But she brings it up and goes, well, actually, they were mutual friends with both of them. And you know, he wrote an op-ed explaining exactly why he had to side with Amber Heard, because people love Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp was the violent one. That is what I mean. She claims she didn't watch the trial. I don't think that's true. I think Kat paid very close attention to the trial. I think she knows Amber Heard is 100% guilty, but she lies and she misinforms people because for someone like Kat, it's much more important that people never question when a woman makes a claim, because again, the majority of claims, according to Kat, are true. So having one bad apple, we can't let that spoil the bunch. It's kind of fucking evil. and she's convinced that she is a good person as she goes around committing this fucking evil.
And they all had close relationships with him, so nobody jumped to accuse him of being an abuser. And especially Amber. Like, that's what Io says in the essay, is like, she wanted to defend him. She loved him more than anyone. She made excuses for him. She wanted him to get better. And so that's why she didn't leave, because...
Well, and like, so in getting ready for this episode, I was listening to podcasts that were released this time last year by people who were pretty uncritically covering this trial and very much from the, hashtag Amber Turd is a liar, LOLOL.
Well, were you listening to Kat's... I mean, you said you're a big fan of Kat. Okay, so you're paying attention to the shit that she was saying at the time. Fuck, man.
And it was pretty gross to listen to the way that people trivialized what happened to her, but also people did talk about the fact that there were a lot of people in the kind of Amber Johnny orbit who were benefiting from their proximity to Johnny Depp and how he was giving them places to live, these penthouses, these houses in the hills, yada yada. But then somehow the conclusion that people were drawing when I was listening to these podcasts from a year ago were like, so obviously Amber wanted to stay because she had a lot to gain because she was mooching off of him. And I was like, wait, that's what you're taking from this? Like, and not the fact that this would obviously make it harder for anybody to come out against Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Like, it's a power dynamic, but people were covering it as like basically like, well, she's a gold digger, so abuse is kind of the price that she pays. Whoops. Also, she wasn't a gold digger. And the idea that like people come forward, I mean, and I know this has been talked about, but it really does bear mentioning. Like, the idea that people, especially women, come forward to gain something, to gain fame, to gain money. Like, we don't live in a world where that works. And that is why this does not actually happen the way that people want it to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we don't live in a world, and this was showcased in this trial, we don't live in a world where women who come forward with abuse are valued, are believed, are listened to, are much less rewarded. And so
I see, this is why I was saying, like, the general dishonesty about this situation. Trying desperately, especially to claim that this is whatchamacallit. This is like, oh, look, she's clearly the one who is being victimized. She's being abused, yada, 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 whatever. It falls apart because you're fucking Christ, man. She was mooching off of him. She was, okay? And everything that they say is entirely reliant on Amber Heard's claims. But when they go like, oh, look, we're not a society that values a woman come forward. When Amber Heard initially came forward, the majority of people sided against Depp. Depp had to go through that. Depp had to lose multiple contracts. Depp had to lose multiple roles. Depp had to essentially lose his fucking career because of the claims made by Amber Heard. Depp only got it back because he took it to trial. He hired lawyers and he presented actual evidence to prove his claims. This was not, these two are so fucking dishonest, okay? So insanely fucking dishonest, all right? Because they're trying to claim that actually, guys, we live in a society that doesn't value accusers because people didn't always side with Amber Heard. Bullshit. When she made her fucking claims, people sided with Amber Heard. It wasn't until the trial, and even when the trial was filed, when the case was filed against Amber Heard, people still said Johnny Depp was going to lose. It was only after all of the evidence was presented to people that they sided with Johnny Depp. So he had to go through years of people not believing him, years of people believing Amber Heard, losing multiple roles during this time. And these two shit faces sit there and grin and sip their coffee, talking about, well, this is proof that people just don't value women when they come forward. Oh my God. Literal fucking years. Literal fucking years. These people are disgusting. Like, fucking disgusting.
And so this like constant thing of like, well, Amber was planning this from the beginning so that she could then come forward and reap the benefits of coming forward about being an abuse victim. It's like, what benefits? I mean, we saw it last year. What benefits?
What benefits? Oh my God. She was featured everywhere when she came forward with her stories against Johnny Depp. What benefits, guys? What benefits did she get? What are you talking about? Like this gross, disgusting woman who came onto this podcast goes, oh, well, actually, we had to pay attention to everything from the very start of the relationship. And then she just manages to completely gloss over and forget about the multitude of years from when Amber Heard first made her fucking claims, okay? When she first made her fucking claims. How? How the fuck? I swear to God, it is a case of brain damage. With her shit-eating grin. It's impressive. It's impressive.
Did she reap? She was abused, and now she can't go in public without being, every paparazzi stop being disseminated across the entire internet.
Exactly.
And she has no money.
Exactly. And also, people say that Amber planned all of this or that she made it all up so that she could benefit from the Me Too movement. But the Me Too movement didn't happen until after their relationship ended and she had already accused him of abuse.
Right. So the Me Too, their relationship ended when?
So they were married in 20.
You can't lead your podcast off and talk about how the Me Too movement, we should all believe Amber Heard because of the Me Too movement, and then turn around and say, guys, the Me Too movement happened. How are we not siding with Amber Heard? Fuck. It's not just me, right? It's not just me who realizes how insanely fucking brain damaged this argument is. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God.
2015, and then they divorced in 2016.
And the Me Too movement was
the Me Too movement.
The end of 2017.
Yes.
So they
They divorced. Okay. Amber Heard didn't come out with her fucking claim about the guy until the end. Okay? Until well after the fucking divorce. She tried to get films of him acting out, throwing fucking tantrums. Why? Because they're getting divorced, you dumb idiots. She went public with her claims after. Oh, God. Why would a woman who's going through a divorce accuse her incredibly rich and wealthy husband, who's incredibly rich and wealthy, by the way, of abuse? Nobody would ever do that. The fuck?
Separate at the end. They separated in 2016.
Yes.
And then in 2018, Amber writes an op-ed in the Washington Post that becomes the basis for this trial.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Connect the dots, you fucking moron. You just said, oh well, guys. She didn't do this until before the Me Too movement. She puts her article out in 2018, a year after Me Too starts. Was it even a year after Me Too started? Was it like 6 months? Oh my God. So again, we have a woman who has found herself in a relationship with an extremely wealthy guy, okay? Who is going to go through a divorce with this extremely wealthy guy. Why would she ever try to accuse him of abusive behavior and everything? That doesn't make any sense. Why would she do that? They're just getting divorced. There's only hundreds of millions of dollars on the line. Why would that ever happen? I can't figure that out. Oh my gosh. This is just a fruity little podcast. The fool. And then to go, well, guys, listen, she did this all before Me Too. I mean, she wrote the article when Me Too was like in its heyday. Yeah, but that's not related. I fucking swear to God.
Yes. And so at the time of the separation.
How is she trying to profit off of Me Too? I don't understand this. How is she going to profit off of Me Too? Fucking brain damaged people. Hey guys, what happened after she? We're in 2018 now, right? We're in 2018, okay? So what happens in 2018 between 2018 and the fucking trial? What happens in those few years to Johnny Depp and his reputation? What happened to his career in those few years? What happened to Amber Heard's career in those few years? You tell me the difference, because you can't figure out how she could possibly profited off of it.
In 2016, it first made headlines because she got a temporary restraining order against him. And she went to court and she came out with a bruise on her face. And so these photographs immediately come out. And there's this revisionist history narrative that...
Oh, yeah, actually, the bruise on her face. You mean the one that she had and then like 2 days later was completely mysteriously gone? Yeah, fuck, I seem to remember that. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Oh, fucking boy.
Right from the get-go, people supported Amber and denounced Johnny Depp, but that did not happen. And that's what her op-ed was actually about, was, you know, she came forward as a victim of domestic violence in a pre-Me Too era.
Right.
The second she stepped out of that courthouse with that bruise on her face, there were people outside chanting at her, calling her a liar.
Right.
So from the very minute she accused him of abuse, the whole world was against her.
Right. And like we look back on her decision to come forward in a quote unquote post Me Too era that we live in now, and we're like, yeah, well, she was just riding the wave and, you know, into the sunset. And it's like, no, the wave didn't.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. What do you fucking mean? What do you fucking mean? When it hit social media, people believed Amber Heard. When she put her article out in 2018, people sided with Amber Heard. Why'd she put the article out in 2018? Okay, the claim is nobody believed her. So she puts the article out in 2018. What happens in 2018? After the Me Too movement. The one you can't figure out how she profited. Fucking liars. Jesus Christ.
Exist yet. There has never been a particularly empowered time for women to come forward about being victims of abuse. But like, if there ever was one where that did not exist at all, like this was that time. This was very much pre-Me Too.
Yes. And so after she got the temporary restraining order and things settled down a little bit, she and Depp came out with a joint statement where they said that their relationship was volatile at times, but was ultimately a loving relationship. And they said neither party had made false accusations for gain. So at that point in time, there's no argument on the table that there was some sort of violence in the relationship. And then things start to change because Depp acquires new legal counsel, and his new legal counsel has a strategy in place to flip the tables. And all of a sudden, Amber's not the victim, she's the abuser. And this is a really common strategy that abusers use called DARVO, which stands for deny, attack.
You know, I actually don't care, okay? Because maybe that's true. Maybe that's fucking true, Kat. How does that explain her recordings admitting to hitting him? How the fuck does that explain that? Well, you see, you got new legal counsel and they tried to flip the narrative around. Why would they need to flip the narrative around? Nobody believed her. You just said nobody fucking believed her. Why do you need new legal counsel to discredit her if nobody believed her? How does her brain work? How did she jump from one point to the next? Guys, nobody believed Amber Heard. Nobody sided with Amber Heard. Amber Heard wasn't trying to profit off of Me Too. Until Johnny got legal counsel to convince everybody she was lying. How the fuck does your brain make one point and then the next? What happened in between? What the fuck? No, you fucking brain damaged woman.
Because it's being reframed in the context of the Me Too movement.
Well, and this is a kind of manipulation of the facts that Amber Heard will end up having hurled against her by everyone alive. Like Amber Heard is a manipulative psychopath. When it's actually like, no, Johnny Depp's lawyers were manipulative psychopaths, but like that couldn't be true.
Why were they? What are you talking about? Nobody believed Amber Heard. You two jackasses less than 2 minutes ago were nodding and grinning along about how nobody believed Amber Heard. That was revisionist history. How are you now saying, oh, guys, actually, it's the lawyers. The lawyers convince people of that. The fuck you mean? Fucking Christ.
True, because he's Jack Sparrow.
Right.
And like he has such a cool demeanor on the stand.
Yes.
Like that. So
that is one of the things that drives me so crazy is people were like, he did such a good job in court and she did such a bad job. And I'm like, he's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Right. And like, I mean, yeah, it was just people being like, how could he lie? He talked like.
Listen. They're both actors, okay? Johnny Depp's an actor. She's an actress. Now, listen, if you want to say, well, listen, you got to understand, Amber Heard's a shit actress, okay? She's actually shit. She's incapable of acting on the stand also. It's Johnny Depp who's acting. That has nothing to do with the evidence, you brain-damaged idiots.
I'm like, we are watching a television show.
Yeah.
Like, and we shouldn't be. We all need to turn it off.
Yeah.
So in 2018, she publishes this op-ed in the Washington Post.
Well, Kat says she turned it off. Kat didn't watch it, according to Kat. Like, guys, it was just the acting on the stand and the lawyers manipulating the public. What about the evidence at trial? What about the evidence at trial? What about that? Are we going to get into that?
Post where she describes being, the face of women who come forward with abuse and then facing society's wrath, which by all means of evidence that we have is true.
Exactly. Yes. So she writes the 2018 op-ed, which, by the way, was not even that big of a deal. Like, before the 2022 defamation trial, I don't think people were widely reading or widely sharing this op-ed.
Actually, hold on. Let's see. I'm just trying to line a couple things up. Because she's right about the 2018 op-ed. Sort of. Okay? She's sort of correct about the 2018 op-ed. I didn't die. I am dying, though. But she's sort of right about the 2018 op-ed. It made some waves. It was then brought up again in 2020. I think it was the Washington Post. Was it Washington Post or was it NBC News? Okay. One of these outlets then dragged the story back into the public with Amber Heard giving statements again. I think it was at that time where he gets dropped from everything. And the Sun too. Fuck.
And it wasn't that big.
No, it was not a viral essay by any means.
No, but they saw an opportunity. And that is what is so vexing about all of this is like.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, the 2018 article didn't actually name Johnny Depp, which I think is why it didn't go viral. Am I correct about that? Hold on. Hold on. I want to just check. Yeah, okay. Depp's name was never mentioned in the article in 2018. But by the way, guys, December 2018. It was then brought up at the start of 2020 or the end of 2019, in which they publicly named Johnny Depp, and they had statements by Amber Heard. I believe this is what started with the whole Sun. This is why the Sun was sued for defamation, because the Sun got statements from Amber Heard going after Johnny Depp and naming Johnny Depp as the person in the 2018 article. Are we going to forget that? Are we going to not mention? Guys, listen, the 2018 article wasn't even that big. No one even paid attention to it. I don't even understand. I can't figure it out. I don't know why. Why are people saying this? I can't figure it out. I'm fucking Cat Tenbarge and my brain doesn't work, guys. Fuck. We still got an hour left. I'm going to have to do like a part 2 and a part fucking 5 because this is just so bad.
People are like, she can't leave him alone. What are you talking about?
Right.
She wrote an op-ed where she didn't name him.
Right.
And then his lawyers proceeded to sue her for defamation across multiple continents. First, they sued
Whoa. Okay, actually, hold on.
her in the UK. And they...
Okay. This is what I mean about Kat claims. I'm a journalist. I studied everything from the beginning. Kat is so fucking dishonest, and I can't figure it out. If it's just because she literally doesn't know what the fuck she is talking about, or she's just willfully lying, or if it's a combination of both. The Sun picked up the 2018 article by Amber Heard. Okay? They spoke to Amber Heard in 2018.
and wrote the article about Johnny Depp being an abuser, publicly named and shamed him in 2018. The Sun was sued in, I think it was 2020, 2021, after Johnny Depp was dropped from multiple fucking roles. Oh, look, he went, his lawyers, this is a manipulation tactic by the lawyers. They sued her in every single continent. Fuck. I mean, like, look, it's no surprise Kat calls herself a journalist, given the state of fucking media. Okay? Given the state of media today. This is what I expect from a journalist, by the way. Okay? But, like, brain rot, brain damage. This is fucking special needs reporting.
Lose. Then they sue her in the US in a state where neither of them have ever lived, where they never went in their relationship together. The only reason they were allowed to do it in Virginia is because that's where the Washington Post is published.
And it's like, yeah, she's obviously the one in the situation.
Oh, thank you. Because after the Sun article, she then wrote, then the Washington Post wrote an article in which they used statements from Amber Heard. Because Amber Heard went to multiple media outlets. After her 2018 essay got no traction, she went to the Sun, and then she went to the Washington Post. I can't figure this out. I can't figure it out. It was a manipulation tactic by the lawyers. Fuck. Holy fuck. Revisionist history, everybody. Remember what she claimed. Revisionist history. Literally just making up events now.
Situation who's like seeking attention and fame and money, which is why they're suing her across the globe.
Yeah.
And like, what? It's over an essay that he was not named in.
Yeah. And they also are...
No! Not right! Not right, you fucking idiot! Not right, you terminal brain cancer! No! That's not correct! She wasn't sued in the UK. The Sun was sued in the UK. The newspaper, not the fucking Planet. I shouldn't have to clarify that, but you're so special fucking needs. I probably have to because your idiotic ass would assume he's trying to sue the solar system. The Sun, the paper, spoke with Amber Heard, wrote an article using her claims, and they were sued. She then went to the Washington Post. Oh, fuck me. Special fucking needs reporting and special needs podcasting.
Building their case around the idea that her op-ed had damaged his career, which is really laughable.
Right.
I'm laughing.
Right. We are.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so Warner Brothers drops him in 2020. Okay? Warner Brothers drops him in 2020. Disney drops him in like 2020, 2021 over the Sun and the Washington Post. He's dropped from everything. This is funny. What idiots? Brain damage, terminal fucking cancer. Can't figure it out. Can't figure it out. Makes no sense to them. Makes no sense to them.
Well, and I mean, yeah, and look at their careers now also. Like Johnny Depp is arguably more famous and loved than he's ever been in his life. Like I'm frankly a little bit scared to put out this episode because I know that people who have Johnny Depp stan accounts are going to be in my DMs like, oh, I used to like you. He just like walked in Rihanna's Savage by Fenty show or he was there or something. And like she, like I said, like
you mean after the trial? After he lost all of his roles? Guys, after the trial, he's more famous now than he's ever been. Listen, I'm sorry. I can't. I fucking can't. These two are glossing over multiple parts of history. You have Kat, who's literally making shit up as she goes. Making shit up as she goes. And then claiming other people have revisionist history of the events. Fuck. And then they're laughing. Oh, his career got destroyed. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Oh, okay. When did Warner Bros. Drop Johnny Depp? When did Warner Bros. Drop Johnny Depp? Let's see. November 2020. The Sun article, Johnny Depp abuse. Let's see. When can I find that? I can't find the original article by the Sun, but I know that the dropping of Johnny Depp happened. Oh, here we go. Was from July 27, 2020. The Sun lawyer Johnny Depp was misogynistic abuser. So to be clear, the Sun wrote an article in which they spoke with Amber Heard, got statements from Amber Heard, got claims from Amber Heard, brought up her claims from 2018. This was then blasted out by the Hollywood Reporter, the Associated Press, USA Today, Washington Post, Business Insider, Entertainment Weekly, the New York fucking Times, Deadline. Everybody blast out these claims that the Sun brought up initially in the UK. They can't figure out how this damages his reputation. These two, right? Matt's probably just in la fucking Candyland, right? Oblivious, ignorant obliviousness, right? It's a beautiful fucking thing. Kat knows all of this. And she's just shit-eating grin, enjoying every second of it, because she knows this nitwit over here ain't gonna fucking question a single thing she's saying.
Like, she can't really leave her home.
Yeah.
So the trial ensues, and Amber has a mountain of evidence that shows she was abused. And then Johnny Depp also has evidence that she, at points, fought back.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, guys. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's like brain damage met ass cancer. Fuck you, man. Oh my god. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yes. She's got mountains of evidence that she was abused, and he's got some proof that she fought back. Yeah, that's exactly what it was, Matt. Thank you. What the fuck? You mean like the claim where she's like, I didn't smack you, I hit you. I didn't smack you, I hit you. You're such a baby. I do this to other people and they can take it, but you can't. Oh my god. Oh wow. Oh my god. That is special fucking needs. That is special fucking needs indeed. Okay.
And yes, and basically, so in 2020, Johnny Depp's team leaked some recordings to the Daily Mail, notoriously anti-women tabloid, the Daily Mail, which was instrumental in Britney Spears' downfall, which has been instrumental in Meghan Markle. In all of these attacks on prominent women, these tabloids appear as these characters.
But everyone accepted it uncritically and was like, no, this time it's legit because Amber Heard sucks.
Right. And, the audio that they released that I would argue is the overwhelming piece of evidence that people cite when they say that she abused
Can I guess?
Yes.
Is it the one where she's like, tell them I hit you?
Yeah.
See if they believe you.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I wasn't even paying close attention to the trial, but at the time, that was one you could not escape. Because what did she say in the audio?
So in the audio, they're having an argument, and Johnny brings forward the idea that he's gonna
or the one where there's that one. There's also her cutting off his finger, but I think the best audio is where she's saying that. Gosh, actually, hold on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I Here, let me. There's a clip on YouTube. I'm not gonna play it because you guys know what I'm talking about. Here you go. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
33.
Any objection?
Yes.
Objection.
26. Thank you.
Gone from you kicking the bathroom door and hitting me in the skull as I was bent
Again,
down.
I am
Wait,
sorry.
if you have those memory fucking, you know, divots.
I was upset. There was a lot going on,
okay,
and I was
wait.
on an Ambien. Like,
Okay,
why?
wait.
Like, why are you obsessing over the fact I can't remember it the way you remembered it? I said I was sorry. I
Okay,
didn't deny
know
it.
that. I'm not talking about that. What I
Guys, he has some recordings showing that she was fighting back. Like, what the fuck? How can people side with Johnny Depp? That's not even the whole thing, by the way. That's not even the whole fucking thing. That is, by the way, since I want to talk about textbook, that is textbook gaslighting. Okay? That is textbook gaslighting. Convincing the other person that you don't even remember what happened. It didn't happen that way. I wasn't punching you. I was just hitting you. You stop being such a baby about it. These two. I know Matt didn't watch the trial because that would require some level of like pulling your head out your own ass. I'm convinced Kat watched it. Okay. But she goes to people that she knows did not watch it, and she just lies repeatedly, knowing she will not be challenged.
Accuse her of abuse. And she laughs and she's like, tell the world, Johnny, that I abused you. Like, man, I'm a victim of abuse too. And she's laughing because it's...
She actually said that she was an abuse victim in that recording too, guys. These two are special fucking needs.
So ridiculous because to her, at this point, she's lived through multiple years of this man beating her up.
Right.
And like there are witnesses. I feel so comfortable saying that Johnny Depp beat her up because A, it was proven in court in the UK.
Actually, no. See, that's what I mean about Kat like lying through her crooked fucking rotten teeth. That's not what the UK trial was about. The UK trial was about whether or not The Sun, the newspaper, had defamed Johnny Depp. Okay? There were multiple issues with that trial. For one, the judge's own son had financial interest in one of the parties being sued. But also, all that was found in the UK trial was that the son was good to put forward those claims. That was it. The son wasn't the one making the claims. The son was reporting on the claims. Amber Heard wasn't being sued there. So Kat is wrong, okay? But she's an idiot, and she's a broke fucking idiot. Suing her does nothing for anybody, right? She lives off mommy daddy money. But also, nobody believes her anyway, so she can make whatever claims she wants. She comes across as a fucking nut job. But also, the witnesses that testified on Amber Heard's behalf were routinely discredited in cross-examination over and over and over again. Johnny Depp has multiple more witnesses testifying on his behalf and recordings of Amber Heard admitting to hitting him, which these two are chuckling like fucking jackasses.
And B, Io Tillett-Wright witnessed a bloody pillow. He witnessed clumps of hair on the floor. People witnessed Depp pushing her, shoving her, hitting her.
You know, that's funny because she keeps bringing up this guy. The police went to the apartment, okay? They found no signs of anything wrong or out of place in the apartment. This is what he testified to, which is why he claims he called the police. But they found nothing when they went through the apartment, which you think would be important, but not to this idiot, because that would discredit Amber Heard's claims. So, of course, Kat won't be honest and talk about it.
One of her friends testified that she wrapped herself around Amber's body during one of Johnny's angry, violent outrages to protect her because it was so common in their relationship by that point that he would be beating on her. And so when she said that,
right, it's like shocking. Like, woman who's endured years of abuse responds to abuse in a way that isn't like super PC.
Exactly.
And like, it is worth saying that on its face, if you look at that audio, if you listen to that audio as we all did, clipped out of the context of their years-long horrible relationship of him abusing her, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead because at this point, like I'm almost half an hour in. I'm gonna like fucking punch myself. Okay, I'm gonna pretend I'm Amber Heard and beat myself up. Fuck me for thinking this is a good idea. Let me go right to here. Let's see if they can. I don't even know what I'm expecting.
The thing that doesn't make sense to me is that if Johnny wasn't going to be there, then why would Amber do this as some act of revenge?
Yes.
If you're gonna shit in someone's bed to make their life miserable, shouldn't you shit in the bed that they're sleeping in? Like, Johnny wasn't there.
Exactly. And like the most important.
Okay. Maybe. And hear me out, guys. Maybe the reason why Amber Heard shit in Johnny Depp's bed. Look. Amber Heard's claim is that the dog did it. Okay, it's a 5-pound shit, and they have a 2-pound dog. And Amber Heard claims that the dog did it. Okay, like you want to say, "Oh, I don't understand why she would do that." The judge in the UK said, "Oh, she wouldn't do that because then she would have to deal with the smell." Maybe because it ruins the fucking bed. Maybe that's why. Maybe so that when he comes back to the place, it will stink like her fucking shit. Maybe that's why. Maybe she's just mentally unstable. Maybe that's why. There are actual multiple reasonings why you would do that if the guy wasn't physically there at the time. Maybe because you don't want to be caught in the act, you idiot.
I'm just saying, if I were to shit in someone's bed, you know, which, like, you know, who's to say?
The cherry on the top is they have this dog who has a long track record of shitting on the bed.
But people are like, no, it couldn't have been the dog. It's definitely Amber because she's crazy.
Right. There's literally a text message that Amber had sent to one of John.
Because it's a look, here's the problem. There's a photo of the turd. It's a 5-pound massive shit. And the dog is a 2-pound dog. Listen, I have a pit bull. Okay? I have a fucking pit bull. My pit bull don't shit that big. So I know a 2-pound dog didn't do it. Fuck. I mean, look. Well, let's get into the evidence. So basically, Amber Heard has mountains of proof of the abuse, mountains of witnesses to the abuse, and Johnny Depp has like a couple of messages showing that she was defending herself. Yes, Matt. Yes, that's exactly what happened. Oh my God. At that point, I knew from the start where we were going, but at that point, I should have ended it. At that point, I should have ended it. Because that's when you reach fucking parody comedy levels.
Johnny's employees, after one night where they woke up and Amber texts him and is like, boo, shit all over Johnny. I'm not even kidding. She shit all over him in the middle of the night.
These are the details that people really sunk their teeth into when they were, you know, when influencers, podcasters, everyday people on Twitter, whatever, people in the news, when they were painting her as this like manipulative, insane woman who can never have been abused. Like, these are the details that they used to paint her as that. And understandably so, because like it is comically ridiculous. Like the idea of someone shitting in their partner's bed.
Yeah.
Like it's like out of a movie.
Yes.
And I guess on this detail, we don't know ultimately if it was the dog or if it was Amber or one of Amber's friends. But worst case scenario, like if it was Amber who shit in the bed, an unsavory act, sure. But like, does it matter?
This doesn't matter because Amber was being abused. Listen, here's what I love, right? Because we could have this argument with these two fucking assholes about whether or not she actually did it. And the minute they start to lose that argument, they would just turn around and go, well, it doesn't actually matter. She was being abused. That's why she did it. Of course she did it, because she was being abused. It's actually kind of obvious where they'll go. Okay? Once you know, you know. Once you're there, you're there. It's obvious where these two will go with their arguments because they don't actually have anything that makes sense. So why not? Why not just double and quintuple and quadruple down into pure fucking levels of abject fucking stupidity? Why not? You're not required to be honest. So why not? Why not just fucking go for it?
No.
Does it matter? Does it tell us anything about her being a liar, about being abused? Like, that's the thing that doesn't really make sense to me.
No. It's just a way to, I think, further dehumanize her. And it also strips away, I think, a quality that could have been used to her advantage, which is...
Well, okay, all right, sure, whatever. It doesn't actually matter. Look, if she shit in the bed, it's after years of abuse, which, we can't prove, but, we're just going to say that that's why it happened. Right? Fuck me. What did I think I was getting myself into tonight? Fuck. Holy fuck. Wow. Wow. Oh, fucking wow. I should have known better. I should have known fucking better, but I didn't, and we're here.
Is that she's a really beautiful woman. And so this is something that's really interesting because people actually are slightly prejudiced against beautiful women. This is a real thing. Like, there are real studies that show, whether it's because of intimidation or jealousy or sexualization, whatever it is, people are like...
Well, I am curious about that because, listen, maybe, but then why do people hate Kat Tenbarge? Because she is gross. Like gross. Rotting teeth kind of fucking gross. So what's the explanation there? I just want to know. What is it? What is it about Kat that people don't fucking like? Because she is nasty, like unclean kind of nasty. Like, I'm just curious. Like, what's that about? What's that about, guys?
Less likely to view a beautiful woman as credible or a victim.
Oh.
And so this is already something that is a dynamic with Amber. But I think that calling her Amber Turd and creating this image of her like doing something so disgusting was a way to further dehumanize her and also strip away that idea of having beauty or elegance or tastefulness. Like, it was a way to immediately present her as immature, childish, disgusting, and animalistic.
Right.
And so it was very successful, but it was all part of the smear campaign.
Right. And it was...
Well, guys, it's not true. But also, if it was true, it's part of a smear campaign. But also, it's not true. Oh, pick a fucking lane. Just pick a fucking lane and stay in it.
It was like cartoonish. And something that I return to a lot when I think about this trial is all of the people who, the second they're, because people were just being so extremely abusive towards Amber online. And like, I feel like it's really hard for anyone of any belief with regard to this case to look back on the things that were said to and about Amber Heard in the media and be like, yeah, that was all justified. I mean, actually, there definitely are a lot of people who believe that,
yeah, look, man, there are multiple recordings of her. They talked about one, which they heavily dismissed. It's out of context. It's a smear campaign. Oh, he just has proof that she was defending herself. There are recordings of her gaslighting him about her hitting him. Not saying, oh, I was defending myself, but literally saying, I took an Ambien. I don't even remember it. I wasn't punching you. I was hitting you. Stop being a baby.
I think normal people with human empathy, might I say, would look back and be like, that was really fucking wild, the way that we treated her. And like the Photoshop pictures of her, like the shit. I mean, it was just crazy. And I think a lot of people go, well, it's so important to recognize that men can be victims of domestic abuse. And it is bad that oftentimes we overlook that as a society. But that's not really what anyone's arguing. And at the time.
Yeah, that was literally what people were arguing. That was literally what people were arguing. That's literally what you two jackasses are completely just blowing past. Yes, men can be victims of abuse. Typically, men don't want to come forward either, because then you have, I don't know, two shit stains on society named Kat and fucking Matt who would have a podcast where they would laugh in your fucking face talking about how you couldn't possibly be the victim of abuse. You're being way too charitable there, buddy.
Relentless campaigns and jokes and videos about Amber Turd isn't exactly doing anything for male victims of abuse.
No. And we saw some of those very same creators who made the Amber Heard hate propaganda in cases where there are male abuse victims, with the leading example being Anthony Rapp and Kevin Spacey. Did those people support Anthony Rapp? No. They actually undermined Anthony Rapp because when Anthony...
Which Anthony Rapp is an actor. Yes. And he was in Rent, among a lot of other things. He's wonderful. I love Anthony Rapp.
Yeah, he's amazing.
What? Okay, so guys... The one, who the fuck defended Kevin fucking Spacey? Okay? Who the, like, this is what I mean about her just making shit up. Like making shit up. Who the fuck defended Kevin fucking Spacey? Who the fuck defended Kevin fucking Spacey? But also, the only example that these two idiots can think of is a case of a man abusing another man. Yeah, wow. See where your head's at. Women can't possibly be the victimizer. They can only be the victims. These two are fucking special.
But he was the one who, for context, he was the accuser who came forward accusing Kevin Spacey of sexual assault, and kind of, you know, that was the end of Kevin Spacey.
Yes. Yeah. And at the time, and I mean, there are obviously there are many other allegations against Kevin Spacey.
I'm going to skip forward a little bit because, for one, bringing up that example is brain damaged because nobody defended Kevin Spacey. No one defended Kevin Spacey. But also, the problem is, it's not just that people don't believe men when they come forward claiming abuse. It's that when men accuse women of abuse, they are largely discredited by jackasses like Kat and her special buddy Matt. Let's let me just go towards the fucking end. Oh my god.
Tabloids.
Yep.
And they did it irresponsibly, and they did it in a biased way.
Yep.
And then the people who picked up on that were the content creators. And first of all, media was too slow to respond because we let all of this percolate and develop in sort of an underground way that when we got to the public desire to have nonstop information around this trial, we had already failed to educate the public. We had already failed to deliver the news to them in a way that they could comprehend, because we've already failed if the entire population only wants Johnny Good, Amber Bad content. And I think that after the trial ended, we started to see some people write think pieces about how we failed Amber and about how Amber really was the victim. And you started to see more.
Oh my god. I'm done. I'm fucking done. Okay, so basically, the reason why the reason media failed is because, oh my god. Oh fuck. My head hurts. My fucking brain. My brain is in fucking pain. So, just to be clear, the reason why people believed guys, media failed because media didn't jump all over this, right? I mean, they did when the Sun put their article out, and then all these other outlets jumped on board. I mean, they did it then. They heavily did it then, which is what led to the Sun lawsuit. And then, of course, there was the other lawsuit, which was Amber fucking Turd, because her going to fucking WAPO after that, which a bunch of other outlets picked up on as well. Okay? Fuck. I don't know, man. I don't. But then here's my problem. What percolated, okay, was the trial itself. All right? People watched the fucking trial. That's it. That's what caused this big fucking downfall for Amber fucking Turd. It was just the fucking trial. That's all. She lost because she went fucking nuts. She lost because people paid attention to the evidence presented at trial. Evidence at trial is what caused people's opinions to shift on Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. The reason why media outlets could not pick up on the story was because there was evidence presented at trial, which, if they reported on, would only make her look fucking worse. So they didn't. Kat tried talking about it, but Kat admitted, or at least I think she just straight up lied, about actually watching what was going on. Because what went on there was just like I said, I've already said, special fucking needs people. It's special, all right. Fuck me, man. Yeah. Okay. I actually think that I became dumber today. Everybody, I think I became dumber, and that's not good. That's not a good way of living. I lost a lot of brain cells. Not really happy with myself. I'll admit I'm not. Oh, what a world to live in, everybody. What a fucking world to fucking live in. Oh, wow. Oh boy. Fuck me. Fuck me indeed. Okay, guys, that's it. I need some fucking Advil and some vodka. I need a lot of vodka right now. I think I'm just gonna drink so much alcohol right now that I forget that this stream ever fucking happened. Okay, listen. This podcast is for the people who did not watch the trial, who never intended to watch the trial, who had already made up their minds on who is guilty and who was innocent. And for those people, mazel tov. Mazel fucking tov. You got everything that you needed. No, I just, bro, I was about to start hitting my own fucking head into my computer. I was just going to start beating and smashing my head into the computer. This was that bad. This was that fucking bad. Okay? There is nothing at all that I or anyone could do to justify this level of pure, unadulterated fucking stupidity from these two idiots. Like, it was a special case of stupid. A special fucking case of just very stupid, idiotic people. All right, that's it. That's it for the stream. You guys have a good night. I'll see you here in the next one. Holy fuck.